My name is Pierce. Detective Pierce. This wasn't meant to be a case. I had taken a leave. The city had worn me down to bone and ash. The sirens, the cigarette smoke, the sleepless hum of a life spent among broken people and cold facts. I rented a remote cabin in the far north, not far from the Arctic Circle. A village called Vargström, buried in whiteness and silence. 400 people, no phones, one road in. The locals were cold, not rude, just hollow. Their eyes drifted past me when I spoke. Smiles came too late. Words were short and practical. I'd been there 3 days when I heard the screaming. It was just before dawn. I had just poured coffee and was watching the snow stack against my window like an avalanche in slow motion. That scream didn't echo. It was swallowed by the snow, dead on arrival, but unmistakable. Human, female, panicked. I ran out half-dressed into the blue light of early morning. No one else came out. I followed the voice. Behind the cabins, past the broken wooden fence, into the woods. I didn't find anyone. But I found something else. A circle of trees, bark stripped and carved with crude symbols, spirals, lines, and a symbol I had seen before on an old Scandinavian runestone. In the center, the snow was melted in a perfect ring, steam rising gently. Blood stained the ground where no animal tracks could be found. I returned to the village, frostbitten and furious. But when I asked the locals, no one claimed to have heard anything. I asked about the forest. Blank stares. One woman muttered, "Don't go there. The snow remembers." That's when I noticed the photo board in the corner of the only bar in town. A row of black and white pictures, faded with time. Each showed a young woman. Different faces, different years. Always winter. Always the same words handwritten underneath. Missing, not forgotten. No dates. No details. Just faces and frost. 8 of them. I asked the bartender. He pretended not to hear me. That night I couldn't sleep. The wind howled, then went completely still, unnaturally still. I thought I heard soft footsteps in the snow outside my cabin. But when I looked, there was no one there. Only a symbol scratched into the frost on my window. The same one from the woods. Something is wrong here. Something ancient, buried in the snow and silence. And the village, it's complicit, or afraid, or both. Tomorrow, I'm going back into the forest. And this time, I'll be ready. The forest felt different the second time. Colder. Not by temperature, by presence. As if the trees themselves were holding their breath. I brought a flashlight, a voice recorder, and my revolver. I'm not a superstitious man, but I've learned that some places don't care what you believe. They only care if you bleed. The circle was still there. The snow hadn't fallen since yesterday, yet the melting ring was larger now. More blood. No footsteps around it. Not mine, not anyone's. In the center lay something new. A crude wooden doll, shaped like a woman. Its face carved into a scream. I bent down. The moment my fingers touched it, a sound rose around me, not from the air, but inside my head. A whisper, layered and rhythmic. It sounded like chanting. I dropped the doll. Silence. I recorded what I could and marked the trees for return. On the way back, I took a different path. That's when I found the cabin. It wasn't on any map. Hidden in a depression between 2 hills, surrounded by rotting wooden spikes planted in the snow like defensive stakes. Antlers tied with red twine hung from the doorframe. More symbols burned into the wood. Inside, dust, cobwebs, and a journal. Leather-bound, brittle. Dated 1904. Norwegian. Most pages were unreadable, but I understood enough. We offer them to the snow. The old gods demand silence. The voices must not be heard, or the ice will bleed again. Names followed. Women. 8. Ages between 18 and 24. One name matched a photo from the bar. They'd been doing this for a century. I confronted the bartender that evening. He tried to play dumb, until I showed him the journal. His hands shook. He poured himself a drink, and then he said something I can't forget. We don't kill them. We give them to it. If we don't, it comes into the village. It finds voices, and it makes them scream until their throats tear. I asked him what it was. He didn't answer. He only looked past me, toward the window. Snow was falling again, heavy, thick, as if trying to bury the entire town in silence. I returned to my cabin, locked the doors, and placed the wooden doll in the fireplace. As it burned, I heard it again. A woman's scream, distant, muffled, from somewhere out in the woods. But this time, it didn't fade. It got closer. The scream continued for almost 5 minutes. It wasn't constant. It came in waves, like someone drowning just beneath the snow, gasping before being pulled under again. I didn't sleep. At dawn, I headed out again, this time toward the scream. The wind had erased most of the tracks, but not all. I followed a faint trail northeast, deeper into the forest than I had ever ventured. After an hour, I saw something move between the trees, tall, thin, and wrong. It moved like a shadow underwater, slow but unbroken, even against the trunks. I kept going. Eventually, the forest opened into a small valley. At its center, a circle of standing stones, ancient and blackened with soot. A young woman stood tied to one of them. Her head hung forward, lips blue, feet bare in the snow, still breathing. And standing opposite her, the thing. I don't know what word fits it best. It wasn't human. Or maybe it once was. Its skin was stretched tight, gray as dead bark. Its face had no mouth, only deep, gaping holes where ears should be. As if all it could do was listen, I raised my weapon. Then I heard it, not with my ears, but deep inside, a voice. Flat, cold, and final. Speak, and be silent. My hand trembled. My body wanted to drop the revolver. But the scream I'd heard last night echoed in my bones, and the girl was still alive. I aimed, fired once. The thing recoiled, more in shock than pain. I ran to the stone, cut the girl loose. She collapsed into my arms, whispering something I barely understood. "Don't let it hear your name." We fled. I didn't look back until the tree line. The creature stood at the stones, unmoving. Then it turned and slowly dissolved into snow, wind, ash. We made it back to the village just after dusk. The bartender was waiting for me. He said nothing, just watched as I walked the girl into the clinic. By morning, the circle in the forest was gone. So was the cabin. So was the bartender. I stayed another 2 days to file my report and send the girl back to Oslo. The local police didn't ask many questions. I doubt they wanted answers. Before I left, I found a note left on my cabin door. "It heard you. If the snow falls red, run." It's been 2 weeks since I returned home. No snow yet. But sometimes, late at night, I hear wind scratching at my windows. And it's not saying anything. It's listening.